One misconfiguration in a single account setup can trigger a security incident that affects everything simultaneously. AWS Organizations is the governance layer that changes that. It helps separate concerns across multiple accounts while managing them all from a single pane of glass. And it's free. This program is Module 6, Episode 3 of the AWS and Cloud Foundation series, brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team.
Imagine running all your production workloads, development environments, and client infrastructure inside one AWS account. It seems manageable until a misconfigured IAM policy, a runaway Lambda, or an accidental script affects every workload. There are no hard boundaries for containment. Blast radius refers to the maximum possible damage a single failure can cause. Multiple AWS accounts create hard isolation boundaries that cannot be crossed, even by an admin mistake. In a multi-account setup, an incident is contained to a single account boundary. AWS Organizations is the governance layer above individual AWS accounts. It allows you to create, group, and centrally manage multiple accounts. Key features include creating and grouping accounts into organizational units, applying policy guardrails using service control policies, and consolidating billing into a single invoice. It is free to use. AWS Organizations is built on three components: the management account, which is the root account handling billing and administration; organizational units, which are folders for grouping member accounts and applying policies; and member accounts, the individual accounts for each workload or environment. The management account is the root, holding the keys to the kingdom and handling consolidated billing and policy administration. Crucially, it sits outside the reach of service control policies, making it the highest privilege account. The golden rule is never to run workloads here. Keep it clean and billing only. Treat its credentials like root credentials. Organizational units, or OUs, are grouping containers with a superpower. Any policy attached to an OU applies to every account inside it, including nested OUs. Policies flow down the tree through hierarchical inheritance. OUs facilitate a logical grouping and allow for flexible restructuring as your organization evolves. Most small to medium businesses benefit from a recommended 5-account structure. This design cleanly separates concerns and prevents over-engineering. Each account has a single, well-defined purpose, making it easy to apply the right guardrails, control access, and isolate failures. Account number 1 is the management account. Its purpose is solely for billing aggregation, organization management, and policy administration. It houses the AWS Organizations console and consolidated billing, but no workload resources. This is the most sensitive account and cannot be protected by service control policies, so strictly limit access and enforce MFA. Account number 2 is the production account, hosting all customer-facing infrastructure where revenue lives. The governance focus here requires the strictest service control policies. This includes mandating encryption, restricting regions, blocking high-risk actions, and enforcing change control via CI/CD pipelines, avoiding manual console access. Slow and deliberate changes win here. Account number 3 is the development account, an engineering sandbox for safe testing and experimentation. Developers should have freedom to innovate, but not so much that they affect production. Key guardrails include region restrictions, cost alerts, and nightly resource cleanup. This hard account boundary is the ultimate rollback and prevents mistakes from affecting production. Account number 4 is the security account, a centralized hub for audit logs, security tooling, and compliance monitoring. CloudTrail logs from all accounts flow into an S3 bucket here that no other account can modify. Centralizing logs in this dedicated account ensures that evidence of a compromise cannot be erased, even if a production account is compromised. Account number 5 is the shared services account, which is optional but recommended as you scale. It hosts common infrastructure consumed by multiple accounts, avoiding duplication. Examples include DNS and networking like Route 53 private zones, artifact storage for ECR and S3, and shared tooling such as monitoring agents and common Lambda layers. This diagram illustrates the full SMB organization at a glance: the root, management account, and 3 organizational units: production, development, and security. This security OU contains the security and shared services accounts. This 5-account structure provides clean separation of concerns and a strong security posture assembled quickly. Service control policies, or SCPs, are the most powerful governance feature. They define the maximum permissions that can be granted in any member account and override even administrator-level IAM policies. An SCP that denies an action cannot be overridden by any IAM policy, including administrator access. SCP's use either allow lists or deny lists. Most organizations prefer deny lists, starting with full access and then adding specific restrictions, which is easier to maintain. Remember that SCPs only apply to member accounts, not the management account. For permissions, the effective outcome is the intersection of IAM and SCPs. If an SCP denies an action, it wins, making SCPs a hard guardrail. High-value SCP use cases for SMBs include protecting CloudTrail from being disabled, ensuring region restrictions to prevent sprawl and aid compliance, requiring S3 encryption for data at rest protection, and blocking interactive access for the root user in member accounts for better security. This is the JSON for a region restriction SCP applied to the development OU. It uses a deny effect with a string not equals condition to restrict resource creation outside of US East 1 and US West 2. The key is the not action block, which explicitly exempts global services like IAM and organizations to ensure they function correctly. Consolidated billing is a significant financial benefit. AWS Organizations combines all monthly bills into a single invoice for the management account. This facilitates volume discount aggregation, where all usage counts together toward lower pricing tiers. Additionally, it enables reserved instance and savings plan sharing across all accounts, preventing wasted reservations. This graphic demonstrates the power of reserved instance sharing. Without organizations, unused reservations are wasted per account. With organizations, idle reservations in one account automatically cover usage in another, leading to zero waste and optimizing compute costs at the organization level. AWS Control Tower is a managed service that deploys a fully compliant multi-account environment based on best practices automatically. If you prioritize speed and built-in governance over fine-grained customization, Control Tower is the fastest path to a well-governed foundation. Control Tower automatically provisions 4 key capabilities: pre-configured guardrails with hundreds of policies, centralized logging in a dedicated archive account, federated access through IAM Identity Center, and an account factory for provisioning new, compliant member accounts easily. Comparing Control Tower to a DIY organization's approach shows a clear trade-off. Control Tower provides automated setup, pre-built guardrails, and compliance monitoring, best for teams prioritizing speed. DIY Organizations requires manual configuration but offers full control, best for teams needing high customization. Both result in the same secure foundation. IAM Identity Center is the centralized single sign-on service for AWS Organizations. Instead of maintaining separate IAM users in every account, your team gets one set of credentials that grants access to all accounts with the correct permissions. This simplifies access, enhances security, and improves the audit trail. The process for IAM Identity Center is straightforward. Users authenticate once through an internal or external directory. From the Access portal, they select an account and a permission set, and temporary credentials are automatically issued to access the AWS console. This eliminates long-lived keys and shared passwords. Permission sets define the roles a user can assume across accounts. Examples include a developer role with full access to development, but read-only in production, a DevOps engineer focused on deployment pipelines, a security analyst with read-only audit access, and a highly privileged administrator role with full access and strict MFA requirements. The best time to adopt AWS Organizations is earlier than you might think, before migration becomes painful. You should consider moving to multi-account when you have 2 distinct workloads, are onboarding your first engineer, or are winning your first serious customer who expects separation of environments for security and compliance. Building your first organization involves 4 steps. First, create the organization from your root account. Second, create a development member account. Third, apply the region restriction SCP to a new development OU. Fourth, enable IAM Identity Center and assign your engineer access, ensuring a centralized, secure login. Avoid common mistakes like running workloads in the management account, using overly permissive SCPs that break global services, and creating IAM users instead of leveraging Identity Center. Also, don't wait too long to migrate, as the migration cost grows significantly over time. Multi-account architecture is the most effective risk management practice in AWS, containing security incidents to a single account. The cost to add accounts is zero. You get one consolidated invoice, and Control Tower offers over 200 guardrails. If you're running production workloads, the risk of not having multiple accounts far outweighs the zero cost of implementing them. This migration checklist summarizes the path from a single to a multi-account setup. Phase 1 focuses on the foundation, enabling organizations, creating the management account alias, setting up MFA for the root user, enabling IAM Identity Center, and creating your first development account. Phase 2 focuses on governance, applying region restriction and CloudTrail protection SCPs, creating permission sets, setting up the security account for centralized logging, and configuring consolidated billing alerts and cost allocation tags. Most teams complete Phase 1 in one afternoon, while Phase 2 takes 1 to 2 sprints. For more support, you can download our free Small to Medium Business Governance Framework resource. It includes the recommended 5-account architecture diagram, ready-to-use service control policy templates for key guardrails, and a detailed migration checklist.